Okay, we are live. We are picking back up with a project I started in 2023, it would seem. We're picking it back up. It's been a while. So I had started a series where I was working on following along with Bob Ross tutorials with gouache. We had gotten the first four episodes done of season one. And I'm going to try to do all of them. So, like I said, it was a long-term project as I had time for it. And I figured today we would pop back into that. I have two pieces of paper set up in case we finish one. I doubt we'll finish one, but if we do, I've got a second one set up. So we are going to be following along with season 1, episode 5, and it was Quiet Stream. So I've got the link in the chat. We're going to pin that in there. And so if anybody wants to go see the video in full, you're more than welcome to. I've got it muted and we're going to have it paused a lot. Now this was before he started running the colors on the bottom of the screen. Season 1 was really where they were finding their footing, it would seem. So, I wasn't able to pull all of the colors I needed. This one's very green though. And he started off with just kind of slathering the whole thing in sap green. Now, I have a sap green, but my sap green looks very different from his. But we're going to roll with it and see what happens. Right? You know, we never know. This is cold press watercolor paper. And I am using gouache. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to my gouache. This is our Arteza gouache. I don't mind the Arteza watercolor or the gouache, because those two things, it's not a huge problem if it dries on you on the palette, because you can just reactivate that guy with some water. So his down there in the corner, he had slathered the whole thing in sap green. So I'm just getting a slightly watered down version. Now this is dry paper. I did not pre-wet my paper. That's a very bright green. His is much, much darker. So it's not going to necessarily look exactly the same. Well, number one, he's using oils, and we obviously are not, right? So that is one way. It is definitely not going to be the same. And I've not used gouache that much. I do like it. Just I usually end up doing acrylics. It's kind of like watercolor, except that it's a bit more opaque than a watercolor. Now I am using cold press paper. So there will be a little bit of texture getting picked up by the paint off of the paper. And unlike acrylics, this can get reactivated. So we'll see what happens as we go. Now there is acrylic wash or acrylic gouache. Those can't be reactivated, or it's very unlikely to get them to reactivate. Sometimes certain shades will reactivate in that. Sometimes. I should have grabbed a bigger brush for this, but I did not. It's me. Like, why would I? I actually might need to put a little bit more of this paint out. Now, sometimes this paint can be a little staining, as with watercolors. Acrylics can too, but when I was cleaning off this palette earlier, I definitely had stained my finger purple. Didn't even remember putting purple out on this palette previously, but apparently I did. I was trying to remember what I last used the gouache with, but I thought it was my lizard. I don't even remember if I showed you guys the finished lizard. That I had been working on while we were on vacation. But yeah, his is very, very much darker. Unless it's just the way the lighting is. But I think I do remember that sap green being a bit darker. Now, he didn't put any mediums on that one. Not like it matters for us. Because we wouldn't be doing any extra media addition to the gouache. The only thing that we are adding to our gouache here is going to be water. That's it. Water and more gouache. I actually might need to put a little bit more of the screen out. So this is 5x7. The other pieces on this, I started out with 5x5s. So I was originally going to put them in a scrapbook, but I might try to rehome some of these. In which case, I was like, well, how's that going to work? Because they can get reactivated with water and they're just on watercolor paper. So how am I gonna take these to get them rehomed? And I was originally thinking, well, I do have some laminating sheets, some self-laminating sheets. I could laminate them. And that would at least, you know, protect, in theory, in case water got on them, but they could still kind of get bent. So, I picked up some 5x7 plastic protectors. Kind of like trading card protectors, but they're the rigid ones. They're still bendable. I don't know why they call them rigid if they're still bendable. But they're not as flimsy as just the really cheap plastic sleeves. They're a little bit stiffer than that. They are top loads, so in theory something could spill on them. But we'll go with that for now. I could try to laminate one of the other ones I've already done that I didn't like quite so much. Potentially. Now I did have that pretty watered down for this layer of gouache. So he did the whole thing in this sap green color, right? But then he takes some, see, he took the whole thing and painted it sap green. That was my sap green. I know we're a little splotchy in spots, but then he took Prussian blue and ran it across the bottom. So I'm not sure how far up he took it. Maybe a third. Okay, let me stop you there, Bob. So I do have a Prussian blue. I didn't have a cad yellow though. So we're gonna have to figure out what color yellow we want to go with here. Now this palette specifically I'm using for gouache, because since the gouache can be reactivated, look here, little tiny buggy. It's that time of year, all the bugs are trying to get in. Little anty things. I try not to wash this palette much. It is pretty stained from the gouache on it, though. I will say that. I probably do my gouache a lot thinner than most people. That's okay. Right? We all have our own way of doing stuff. I don't have to make it exactly the same as everybody else. Am kind of miffed here. I've got a fuzz. That's what I'm trying to grab. I was unsuccessful in grabbing it, so it might be under the edge of my tape, which is frustrating because I can see you, but where are you coming from? I guess I'm just gonna have to ignore it. So he put the Prussian blue at the bottom. It's still raining, you guys. It has been raining / storming for days now. Now he talks about making it lighter as he comes up, but he's also using oil paint. So the oil paint tends to spread and blend a bit further. So we just have to get a little bit creative. I'm not really sure how far up he brought that. Now, am I crazy for doing this? Probably. But some of the other ones that we did came out pretty well. Now, the other ones I used the Himi Jelly Gouache. This is the first one that I'm using the Arteza gouache on. So we'll see how much of a difference there is. I don't have the Himi Jelly Gouache anymore. I didn't use it enough, so my palette kept drying out. It didn't get moldy. It just kept drying out on me, and then I got frustrated with having to constantly keep going back and adding water to it, and it was a fair bit of time-consuming shenanigans. My paper is buckling a little bit. even though I've got it taped down. This is on a glass cutting board. So it is a little bit like watercolor, where it's reactivating when another bit of stuff gets in there, right? Like I can see the green getting pulled off and landing in my blue here. Just gonna reactivate a little bit of my green. Now it might bleed under the tape just a little bit. It happens. If it's really super bothersome, we can come back with some white acrylic paint or like a white paint pen and clean up the edges if we really need to. Alright, so little splotches. Now it might have been a little bit thinner or a little bit more even, not thinner. Might have been a little less splotchy if I had watered down the paper first. That's gonna be a you decision call. Okay. So now just gonna give that a minute to dry. I could have pulled out the heat tool. Well, where I want to be up here is kind of dry. This is also different paper than I used the last time. So that might also be why it's buckling a little bit. This is 117-pound paper. I think before I was using 140-pound, but it'll be in the protector card, so it won't really matter if it's a little buckly, because that'll help keep it a bit protected there. I could, I guess, pull out the heat tool. I suppose. Just trying to make sure if I've got room for it. Alright, that's at like a 99% charge, so we should be okay there. Okay, what drawer did I have this guy in? So I don't normally like using this guy, but he's helpful, but I just don't like using him because I'm afraid of hot things, and it does smell a little burny when you use it. So keep that in mind. You can also use one of these if you are having trouble getting your teeth up. I don't think the sound of it's coming through. You don't want it too close to the paper because you don't want to torque the paper. Alright, that did... It didn't completely flatten, but it did lay down quite a bit. Ooh, it is stinky. Okay. Or at least I can smell it. Most people probably wouldn't be able to. So he grabs a cad yellow. I was looking at my gouache here. And I don't really have a cad yellow. I have a bumblebee yellow. Those are pearls. I don't want to use the pearl ones. Those two bottom trays are pearls. So this bumblebee yellow is kind of like an orangey yellow. Not really what I'm looking for, I think. So it looks like I really only have one tray of yellow. We have mid yellow, which is a little like Indian yellow, it looks like. We've got a lemon yellow or Naples yellow. I think we're gonna have to go with lemon. Now, let's see. What does he do with this? So he gets some cad yellow. And he just kind of dances in a light source there. Okay. Guess I'll just keep using the same brush that I started out with. And then he just kind of blends it in there. Okay, well. Alrighty, so... Oh gosh. This might be one of those things where in like watercolor, you should probably be using clean water a lot more often. Maybe. Just maybe. Okay. So, where did he go? That was way too much. Gosh, that is very, very green. So I don't know if mine's going to quite look the way his is going to, but we can try, right? Definitely give it the old try. Okay, now he didn't rinse his. I am going to. He switched brushes, but I'm gonna just have this a little bit damp. Because we have learned that gouache, if you didn't know this, gouache is very different than oil paint. So we have to go outside the box a little bit sometimes. I don't know if my light source is too high or not. It might also not be big enough. You can kind of see where that sap green is kind of melting away a little bit into our yellow here. Okay, we'll kind of go with that. We'll see how that does us. See how that does. Okay. I just have a paper towel here. The same paper towel we've been using for a while off to the side. All right, so he said he's going to grab the big brush. Wait, what did he grab? He went back into the sap green. Oh. Bob. Green on green, Bob. Um, how's that gonna work, Bob? I might go with a slightly different green. like he's kind of relying on sorry, Lowe's, but I'm not getting any money from this ad, so all right. And then so he's just kind of like dabbing them in. And then he's gonna make like a chunky color. I mean, I guess we can use the same green. We don't really get to see much of what he's doing here. I don't know about this, Bob, but I might be better off going with like an olive green or something here for this, but we're gonna trust you, Bob. Now the question is, do I mess this brush up or do I grab another brush? I don't want to grab my messy brush to do this. Okay, so I need a little bit of water because it's gouache. So if this doesn't do what his did, I might simply grab a different shade. Because we can do that. Nothing wrong with us grabbing a different shade. Okay, so this isn't as watery as the last one. Alright, so he kind of just went to town. Kind of dabbing in some tree shapes here. Well, we can kind of see a slight difference. I just had to make this a little bit thicker. So I'm using this guy. He is my kind of messed up tree shapey brush. That I had messed up some time ago. And we will pounce some shrubbery on in here. I don't know how I feel about this paper yet. Right now, at this very moment, I'm not sure I'm liking this paper so much. Trying to get these bits of branches to go in the way I want them to. But, right-handed Nisey wants everything to point left. Alright, let's try that. Okay. So hopefully everybody's having a good day today. It feels weird to say Happy Memorial Day, but I hope you're enjoying your Memorial weekend, and we want to thank all those who have served that did not make it. We'll try to help right the wrongs and deal with their orders and everything, and we thank them, we honor them. Of course, I forgot it was a holiday. And I was like, oh yeah, trash has to go to the curb. Should put that out while it's not raining. Did you remember to turn the up and off?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's getting a little bit of life to it here. I'm not sure how far down he brought this, because it's kind of hard to tell with the camera shot they used. So this one I was really pretty nervous about, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. And I'm always nervous when I haven't used something in a while, so I was like, I don't know. I don't know how this one's gonna go. But we won't get any better if we don't try. Right? So he just kind of like slapped in those tree shapes there. I'm really not sure how far down he brought this. So I am sorry we had to cut Coral Island short yesterday, but it had started storming and the doggo was trying to climb my desk and I'm like, oh no, this isn't gonna work. So it was just easier to cut stream and then go sit with him, and I still wasn't really able to get much done. Because he definitely needed attention to try to keep him somewhat calm, so we were like following him around, trying to calm him down. I need to find a shade of brown. Like, we had to take our end table out of our room because he kept trying to climb that and knock it over. It's not a very stable table. Oh, do we not? We don't have that color? Really? Well, that's interesting. So I don't have a Van Dyke brown. Alright then. What do I want to use in its place? I have a burnt umber. That might be close. Alright, so we need a burnt umber. It's burnt umber or toffee. The toffee's a little grayed. Let's go with burnt umber. Alright, so we need burnt umber. And let's grab, let's see, we have white or we have titanium white? I think I need the titanium white. Right? Because we have to make our tree trunks, right? Now he did it all in one fell swoop, I think, or if he just mixed one color. Does he bring it all the way down to the water? He kinda did, but kinda didn't. Van Dyke brown mixed together with white. So it looks brown on one side and white on the other though, so he's got one pretty large tree going in there. And then he's got one there. Or are those two separate trees? That I don't know. Some smaller trees back there. Okay, so we're just kind of putting in tree trunks wherever. We came back with a little more titanium white. To try to highlight some stuff. Okay. Why are you taking magic white? Phthalo? What? Hold on. 1-inch brush, magic white, yellow, and phthalo. Okay. Can we, alright, I guess we'll have to go with that shot. So, I think he did actually have this green splotched in, kind of. Up to our, like, water area. So, let me come back in. Now, when this dries, it does look a little bit lighter, doesn't it? Now, he might not have brought the tree trunks all the way down, but the one over here does look like he brought that all the way down. So, I just kind of want to do a little bit more in here. Just kind of bring that on down. Okay. So let me rinse that guy. Change our cup position there. Okay. So a little bit of burnt umber. And I'm gonna put my titanium in the bottom bucket. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I run out of the titanium. That might be a problem. I might have to see if I can get a tube of just titanium white gouache, I guess. Alright, so how do I want to do this? Do I want to use this guy? I mean, we could. Let's try that guy. So these are my detailing brushes, my miniature brushes. They're not as miniature as I would like them to be. But they'll do. I need to get slightly smaller brushes. Okay, that might still be a little bit wet. Or at the very least, wetter than I wanted it to be. Sorry, like the cord keeps trying to go through my palette. That's why I've been holding it awkward. Okay, so I'm not going to mix these. I'm just going to put the one down and then come back. So, guy up here. He brings that almost down to the blue. And again, they're trees. You do your trees how you want them to be. Now, I have found with the Arteza gouache, it does seem to dry a little bit lighter. Then, it goes on. Or at least that's just how it seems to be to me. Is that actually the case? I don't know. Not a complaint, just an observation. So that way you know. I'm just trying to widen out my tree trunkies there. So it is pretty much opaque watercolor. And if you want it to be, most people use it a little bit thicker than I am using it. And that's fine. If that is what you want to do with it. You kind of go at it how you want to do it, essentially. Okay, I am going to rinse my brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of some fresh water here. I have my bigger cup that I'm dumping the dirty water into. And I need to figure out what I want to do this next bit with. I can use a round brush. Or a liner. Is this a liner? No, this is a round. Okay. Yeah, I don't want this too watery. So I might need to come back and add a little bit of a little bit more of titanium to this. To really get the highlight on there. We'll just have to kind of add it gently. Right? Because titanium did activate. So next time we'll just go with the lighter brown straight up, and then we'll just come back in with the highlight. So we don't want to disturb this next layer of highlight if we can help it. He actually has a little bit of it sitting there. He didn't highlight the back one though, which is interesting. I'm just kind of letting that reactivate the brown underneath of it so they can mix together a little bit. Sounds like it's raining again. And then I think it's supposed to be dry tomorrow, but then more thunderstorms on Thursday. I'm like, can we stop for just a couple of days so we can get the grass cut? Like that's all I want, is for it to dry out just enough so we can get this grass dealt with before the city starts losing their mind. I'm sure they are just waiting to send out notices to people. Like, finger on the trigger. So it might be a little bit interesting trying to get these leaves highlighted on here. Okay, let me rinse that. Grab just a little bit of water. Just to come back and give a slightly more beefed up highlight on these guys. Hopefully without disturbing what I've already done. Now, the paper where we've painted does feel a little chalky. I don't know if that's normal. For gouache, I think the other one, I think the Hemi had the same sort of after feel too, so it probably is. Uh-oh, more sirens. There were some fire trucks, or a fire truck that went by. Really laying on their horn, like they were in a real mad hurry before we got started. But that was quite a while ago now. Totally flubbed my tree there. 100%. 100%. That's still not looking that much better. All right, let's leave that be now. Oh, really? Guys, we have a Banivator today. Let's introduce them to the report button. Oh, your account was just made yesterday. So sad. Maybe we shouldn't be advertising in people's channels. Block. And bam. Okay. Alright. Now, let me change how I'm sitting here. I am sitting a bit awkwardly. Okay. Bob. What do we got next, Bob? Helps if I move my mouse, doesn't it? Magic white. Alright. Magic white, that same yellow, and phthalo green. Do I even have a phthalo green? That's a good question. I have a deep green, a viridian green, a seaweed, a sap green, a pale green, a lime green, an olive green, a sage green. What do we think would be comparable to a phthalo green? Where are my pearls? Yeah, I really don't want to use the pearls for this. I didn't know. Viridian looks a little blue. Maybe we'll go with Viridian. I really should have swatched these. There's a swatchy bit on the back. But that is always going to look different than how it's going to look when it's dry. Alright, so there's the Viridian. We're going to need some more of that. We're also using lemon because I didn't have a CAD. Sorry, this is our gouache palette. I can put a little bit more out because we can reactivate it later. Just have to let it dry. Okay, now let's see what he's going to do with these colors. I've got them pulled out. Hello? Bob? Did my Bob tab just crash? Or what happened? Okay, clicking play. Did my mouse die? No. Why is my mouse like not responding? Why is this being weird?
What exactly is it doing?
I think maybe it's this tab. Null.
Hit space. Yeah, it's the tab.
Okay.
If you just hit reload.
Let me reload that real quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I knew it was gonna add me, so I just wanted to Okay, we did that part. Jazzy guitar music. Okay, Bob. So he's gonna add a little bit of straight white. Alright, so 1-inch brush. I might use our messed up brush that gives me the better tree bits. I mean, I could use a sponge, but I don't feel like getting my fingers all icky right now. So he mixes those two together, kind of. And kind of starts dropping in some leafy guys. At least around where the tree trunks seem to be. And he's gonna go over to the other side. So is it just where... Is he not gonna put it on all of them? Well, what's he gonna do on those branches? Okay, so he kind of takes that down to the base, kind of to the edge of the water. But he's leaving some breaks of darkness in there. Sap. Wait. And then he went into the sap green and the yellow. Okay. So the tree on that side. Oh, my spine just clicked. The far tree and half of that tree get the sap green and yellow treatment. And oh no, we're getting the fan brush. All right, let's back that up, Bob. Can we? We're gonna have to go with this because unless we can get him before he starts messing about. All right. Okay. We need we need a mixy well. Where are we gonna put you? Where are we gonna put you? Guess we'll put you in here. So we need a bit of our yellow here. And we need a bit of this. So that was probably too much. Okay. Try to scrape off as much of that as I can. Alright, so I'm gonna rinse that. And he takes like the smallest amount, that is probably too much, of phthalo. But his looks so much more yellow. I think maybe I had way too much of that other color in there. Is what I think it is. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab some more of the lemon. Right? This looks so much more yellow. Hmm. Alright. I think I will need to add just a little bit more water to that. Okay. So we're gonna grab a bit of this. And we're gonna start highlighting our tree friend here. Just think it needs a little bit more yellow. Because it's not a true phthalo either. I grabbed Viridian. Not a phthalo at all. So I didn't have a phthalo. So in the end, it's just gonna kind of come down to us figuring out what we want to attempt to highlight this with. While still looking shrubby like. Yeah, I am probably going to need to mix some more of this. Just to kick up the opacity a bit here. Because I did have it a little thin here. But I also don't want it like super thick. Okay, so over here, this one, I'm not left-handed, so this is probably not gonna go all that well. Though I will say, it could be worse. Am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? I can't say it.
I don't know what that is.
Weather related?
Oh no, I didn't hear anything like that.
Okay.
Nope.
I wasn't sure if I was hearing it faintly. Okay, again, I am not left-handed. But they had, or he had some of this kind of worked in here. Oh my goodness, Snuffles. You're snuffling a little too much back there. Like, I don't need a whole lot more of this, but I need a little bit more. Okay, and then we need some sap green. Now, I'm probably not going to wash the entire palette like every time, because unless I do something else or I really need room, or Bob drastically changes the color palette. I can just like add more of this on. I'm probably gonna have to clean up my yellow well here though. We need this to be a little bit darker than the other one. I don't think it's supposed to be drastically darker. But I do think it's supposed to be a bit darker. Okay, that looks a little bit darker. Okay. Like, it's not massively darker. But it is a little bit. Just a little. I've got some of my leaves kind of sitting on top of my trunks here. That was a little wet, so it picked up some of our brown here. The only real risk of having it a little too wet is picking up some of your colors underneath. If it's a slightly thicker paint job, it probably won't. I'm gonna grab just a little bit more of this slightly darker yellow green that we made. Kind of tap those in. Yeah, should I have crossed over the trunks in spots? I don't know. I did. Oh well. It is. It's there. It's there on mine. Whatever. It's fine. Like I said before, it's not going to match Bob's entirely anyway. We don't want it to be a direct copy when we do these, number one. Number two, we're not using the same medium. We're using gouache. So it's not going to be the same exact. Alright, just wanted to make sure that was as rinsed as it was gonna be. Excuse me. Alright, Bob. Oh, we're making a waterfall. I don't have a little fan brush. Okay. I mean, I might be able to get the same effect with a flat. Well, this will be interesting. The camera's not keeping up with him very well. Okay. I mean, I don't have a super tiny fan brush. Uh-oh. What's he doing? Stones. Bob. Well, I guess he has to hold the water in somehow. Brown and white. I'm gonna make a gray. Okay. To highlight them. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out what brush I'm gonna put this water in. Oh, that's shiny. Okay, that's why they covered it in duct tape. Or like a matte finish or whatever. Blinding the whole crew. Sorry, Bob's YouTube channel. I don't get anything for running this ad, so we're not gonna. I was trying to see how he's gonna, deal with the rest of the water, because he kind of got distracted and went up and added the rocks. So I was like, can we focus on finishing the water here? Oh boy. Okay. Alright, so what are we putting back there? More rocks? No, why are sap green, Prussian blue? What do you do? Oh. Okay. So we're gonna have to mix the sap green and the Prussian blue together. Okay, so he's kind of framing that. Alright. Okay, hold on, Bob. Let's back that up a little bit here. Okay, I think that's the best shot we're gonna get of that. Okay, so more sirens today. Like, I have a fan brush, but it's not smart enough. Like, that's going to be too big, I think. So, I guess we're gonna have to use this little guy. I have a smaller little guy that maybe... I have a 0 flat. What are you? You're at 2 flat. Hmm. 0 flat might be as good as it's gonna get. Okay. So, let's get some water on the old brushy boo here. Because I need to get some titanium white into a state that I want to use it in. Okay. Alright, so this is the titanium white, not the mixing white. Because there's 2 in here. Okay, let's see if we can, actually, can we back that up a bit, Bob? The ads. I'm not paying for YouTube. I'm sorry. Okay, that was a little too far. Okay. So he takes this fan brush. And he kind of does a little droppy motion. Okay. These ants today think that they can just waltz on in here. The rain is driving them inside. Thought I paused it. I did not. Okay. Alright, so we're like up in here. Okay. And then we've got some little ripply guys that are kind of coming all the way down here. Okay, Bob, I think I'm kind of up to where you're at. I added a little extra splashy boy. Okay. So you kind of put yours in there. And then do we have another, like, droppy down splashy boy here? Yes. A little bit. Okay, that one kind of goes both ways into the water. Okay. So then here, and then you did like a, and we've got some more splashy boys. Kind of happening in here. Mine's not quite at the same angle that his is. His is kind of coming down that way. Mine's gonna come in straight a little bit. Okay, so he does the rocks. We'll go back in and add those guys in a minute. Just wanna get kind of caught up to here. Okay. Okay, so got some more like splashy guys. And then a few more splashy guys. Let me rinse my brush there. Felt like I had gotten a little too in the blue there. Okay. Alright, so then we need to add some more splashy guys in here. I'm not really sure how far down he brings the splashy guys. Clean my brush here. So I'm picking up a bit of that Prussian blue, sap green stuff that we had underneath. Okay. So we do need to make some more. Well, not some more. We don't really have any of this color to begin with. The color got a little carried away when I was putting it out. Okay. Now, I still have some Prussian blue, so I don't think I need a whole bunch of it. So Now where do we want to mix this? I don't know, where do I want to mix this? I guess over here. Get the sap green all out of my brushy here. At least get as much out of it as I can. Alright. So I'm just putting the sap green on my palette here in a separate mixing well, and then I'm reactivating my Prussian. That might be a little too liquidy. But maybe not. There's watercolor paper. Okay, let me rinse that. Okay. Hit me, Bob. So he takes a big brush and mixes sap green and Prussian blue. And he kind of starts smushing that in. Oh, right, we still have to go back and do the stones. The heads! Oh my god. We're trying to do something here, Bob. Okay, so he's got it filled in over here and over here, and kind of stops when he gets down to here. He's gonna take cad yellow, phthalo, and sap green all mixed together. Right. So just some of those highlighty colors that we mixed together. And then he's gonna highlight them coming on down each side. I'm gonna put the background bushes in first, and then I'll go back and do the rocks. Wait, he's only at 13 minutes of a 28-minute tutorial. What all is he doing in here? Does he spend that much time just... Oh my. Okay. Alright, well, Bob, before you get too far ahead, we're gonna pause you. And we're gonna start to pounce in some of our shrubbery down into here with that sap green, Prussian blue mixture here. So this is the sap green and Prussian blue. I do have it a little bit watery. It's just how I like to do my gouache. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, that needs to be thicker. Well, that works for you. then I'm happy for you. This is how it works for me. So this is how I'm gonna do it. Sorry to disappoint you. So mine doesn't quite look like his. The perspective's a little off, but that's okay. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Now, while that is drying, like I said, you can make it thicker if you really want it thicker. Emerald green water here. Mixing cup water, or the rinse cup water, not this water. Okay, so I need to kind of reactivate my brown here. I already have it down. So we're using burnt sienna. No. Yes. No. Maybe. Yeah, no. Burnt umber. Umber. Umber, child. We're using umber. Sienna would be a little more red, I think. So I'm using burnt umber because I don't have a Van Dyke brown in this set. And I'm just kind of putting in some rocks. Probably carried away with the rocks, but I'm gonna carry my rocks like down to here. It's just how I want my rocks to be. Now, he had kind of a gray color. Highlighting them. Probably actually go with like a stone blue. I might clean some of the palette, just not all of it. Like I might clean the mixing wells. At least a little bit. Just so we have room for when we work on the next one. I don't know what we're doing next week. We could do another one of these. We could work on something else. We might do another one of these. Okay, so that's not completely dry yet. So let me try to do this without dragging it through the paint. The only bad thing about this is that it is undoing my adhesive, so it's like coming up on the corners. I can see my white border slowly receding. Like, no, don't do that. I don't want you to do that, because now anything I do from here on out is going to look weird. Okay. So I'm going to grab a little bit of water and try to reactivate our sap green yellow. Mixture here. And he kind of used a combo of the sap green mixture and the phthalo yellow mixture. They kind of look similar to me. They don't really seem all that much different. So, I don't know. I do know this brush is pretty beat up, but that's okay. Alright. And gonna add some little like leafy guys kind of hanging out on our rocks there. And just kind of start getting this area all prettied up here. As best as I can. We will see how it goes. Alright, I'm gonna rinse my brush here. And I'm gonna grab that other highlighty color that we've got. The sap green and lemon. Now Bob's perspective on his looks very different than ours. Completely different angle. That's okay. I'm not sure if mine's supposed to be flush with the bottom. Ours is though, but I'm not certain it was supposed to be. Okay. I mean, it's not terrible. Okay. Now, let's see. Bob grabs some brown. And he starts adding in some land. Like back into here. Sorry, rocks, apparently. Because then he highlights them. And he's adding some grassy bits on the edges of them. And then we're adding a stone down there in the middle. And then that's going to get kind of highlighted. And then he grabs some more white. Oh, and then we're adding another little mini drop. Bob, I'm running out of real estate. I don't know if I can quite get away with all of that. And some more little splashy guys. Some more splashy guys. A lot more splashy guys. Okay, so over here, what are we doing over there? We're gonna make another shrubbery. Okay, so you're just adding more shrubbery. We're only at 16 minutes of a 28-minute tutorial. Bob, what else are we doing here? Like, I'm confused. Okay. Alright, well. We'll grab our 0 flat, I guess. Reactivate some of our brown here because it started to dry. And we'll get a little bit of a stony guy. Popped into there. Just want to make sure my brush is clean. Alright, let me grab my round. My round 3/0. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that. 3/0. Probably should have waited for that to dry, I guess. Alright, so we got that little bouldery guy there. I guess I'm gonna have to dry that before we can move on here. That's okay. We still had some wet spots over here too. Okay. That should be dry enough for me to do what I need to do here. I'm just getting some of the gray ready. Added a little bit of water to it. And I'm gonna work that in there. All right. And then this guy. Work on getting some highlighted guys on that. I'm gonna take just a little bit of the titanium and just a little bit. Not much. All right, let me rinse that. Sorry, I'm seeing a bit of paint still. My brush is just barely damp. Just wanted to smooth that out just a little bit more. Without pulling it all up. Okay. Dry that guy. Okay, where were we? I'm just gonna reactivate some of my highlighty color. And just kind of try to sit a little bit of that down on top there. Okay, now let's see. All right, I need a little bit of water. A little bit more than that. And I'm going to come back into titanium. And just try to add some more splashy guys. We're kind of running out of room, so can only get so much in here. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did you need me?
Nope.
Oh, it looked like you were looking
No.
over this way. Okay. Again, not the same as Bob's. It's not gonna be. Quite frankly, I'm not that good. Alright, I'm gonna reactivate our Prussian and sap green mixture here. Alright, so Bob kinda had this coming this way. I might end up washing this palette. I don't know. I probably will. I'm a bit of a messy one. Okay. So we did that, and we need a bit more highlighty guys here. Yeah, because I'm gonna have to clean the yellow bit. We haven't used that much. Like, I won't be wasting that much. If I can get everybody cleaned out but the titanium white, that would be great. But maybe by the time we're done, I might not even have any titanium left. Probably will have to come back in with some white acrylic. On the edges here. Potentially. Okay. His first season was a little awkward, I will say. As you watch the later seasons, the first season was a little awkward. Just with him trying to get his footing and whatnot. Okay, Bob. So we kind of got that in place. Uh-oh. Now what are you doing? What? You're putting sticks in. I don't know if I really want to do that. Now this is something he can pull off with the oil paint because it's still wet. I think if I try to do that right now, I'm just going to rip the paper. So I'm just going to leave that part be. Uh-oh. Brown. He's got that knife in his hand. Bob. Okay, so it's going to go up and over our waterfall. Okay. So we kind of have like a V-shaped tree here. Okay. Okay. Oh, the ads today. So many. But what did you do, Bob? So you're going to go back into the Van Dyke Brown. Okay, and then you started adding branchy guys. Wherever we feel like adding branchy guys. Okay. Overlapping and he's just kind of going to town here. Even added a broken one. Red. I see no red there, Bob. He tried to highlight them a little bit. He added a little bit of a shadow. Is that more rocks? I guess so. And now he's just kind of fussing it. Okay. So, where does that leave us? That leaves us with working on getting this tree put in. Oh, phone, hold on one second. Ever since the mother-in-law and her sister left, they stopped in New York for a little bit. We've been getting so many spam calls. That say they're coming from New York. How far? I probably took that too tall. But oh well. It lives there now. Alright. Really should be using the other. But the other brush, that's okay. We'll do a couple of thicker guys. before we start getting into the other branches. This guy's not, he doesn't have leaves on him, which is fascinating. Okay, so yeah, you know what? I'm gonna end up cleaning this palette. Anyway. I'm just trying to add a little bit of bark variation on this guy, successfully or unsuccessfully, however you might view that. We're having all kinds of staying connected to chat problems today. It would seem. So just kind of want to add a little bit of coloring to this guy. Like, I don't want to go too crazy. Alright. So just gonna get a little bit more of our brown here. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to not make that quite as light as I had made it. Because then it kind of makes our other branchy guys look a little out of place here. Okay, and he added a little broken guy, like down to here. Or I don't know if he was actually broken or not, but we can do that. Let me... Actually, before I do that, let me come back to this guy. I'm going to go back into our brown. And Bob kind of had a bit of a stone kind of hanging out into here. And also had some dark bit here. Just to kind of give that ground a little bit of shadowiness there. Oh, grab a little bit of our gray. Got a little bit of our greens mixing in with it, but you know what? It's not necessarily a terrible thing. It could kind of make it look a little mossy there. All right. Okay. Let me clean up that brush. And I'm gonna go back to this one. And see if I can grab enough here. Kind of layer that up. Just here and there. Okay. See, when we do gouache, we can, well, when we do the bob following with gouache, we can usually finish in a session. Usually. Okay, let me move these guys over to here. I need to activate a little bit more of our blue here. There is a, it looks to be a fuzz. My brush here. Okay. We have clumsily find that guy. Alright, now let me set the palette over there, and I'm going to dry this one more time. Except this time I'm going to get the tape edges too. We have a little bit of an easier time pulling the tape up, and I might have to get out my white acrylic marker to clean up the edges. But I want to make sure that we are good and dry here. Before we do anything else. Okay. I've learned that hitting the tape with the heat tool before you peel it up helps it to keep contained. It's definitely helpful. at times. That guy gets pretty hot. Okay. Let it go. Alright, let me ball up all my tape here. Alright, not too bad, not too bad. Actually, I don't know that I really need to hit that with the marker. But let me grab my thing here. So this was just the sheet protector that I had gotten. Yeah, we should be fit. Okay. Yay, I did cut it correctly. Woohoo! Alright, and there we go. And now that is protected from stuff getting on it. It's pretty much in there. Like, it's not 100% completely 5x7, but it is as 5x7 as I could get it. I am fairly happy with that. Does it look exactly like Bob's? No. So yeah, Bob was just kind of playing. They didn't show a end shot here. That's as much of an end shot as we get. Again, not as much as Bob's, but I'm fairly happy with that. So our other ones aren't in protectors. They're going to be a different size. So these are the other ones from this season that we have completed. So this is, oh gosh, okay, so this was number 1 from this season. Pretty sure this was the second one. Now these were done with the Hemi gouache. I think this was the third one. And then that was the 5th one. Or the 4th one. I really liked this one quite a bit. I'm rather happy with how that one came out. And this is number 5. This one was very green. Should we see what the next one is in this? I don't know that we're going to be doing this next week, but we probably will. Winter Moon. Oh. Hang on. It's probably going to give me an ad. It didn't. Do they show a finished? Okay. So that's essentially the next one. Oh boy. That is going to be a bit of a challenge. And probably involve mixing some paint colors, maybe. If we did this one, then we should be able to pull off that one next week. Right? I think so. The only reason why I say we probably will be doing this project again next week is because I already have the paper cut for it, and we don't have time to do it today. So I have to keep this paper safe. So we'll probably put it in with these guys in my folder with all of our other papery good projects. that are not framed. That probably should be. Probably. Okay, so let me tuck that into there. Alrighty, so that'll do it for today. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We will be... What are we doing tomorrow? We're doing magnets tomorrow. We're needle felting tomorrow. We will be on magnet number 12. I need to do the prep work for that in a little bit. At least as far as the stream is concerned. And get the video ready for tomorrow. Tonight on the YouTube channel, the last session of Bear and Breakfast is going live at 7 p.m. Central, so don't forget to check that out. I will see everybody tomorrow for needle felting. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and until next time.